I'm Bellator cage announcer Michael Williams, and you're watching Ring Fever, where the fans are the stars.
Ready? Here we are. Ringfever.com. Live. Bellator 63. Fans are going crazy.
There is no cure. The fans are the stars.
The fans are the stars at Ring Fever. Check us out. Ringfever.com. There is no cure, baby.
Okay, here we are, Ring Fever exclusive with Bjorn Rebney.
Boom.
President and CEO of Bellator. Real proud and happy to be here with him tonight. We're going to try something a little different. Obviously, everything's going great. The future looks great. The fights are exciting. My question to you is, how did this thing get started? Can you tell us a little bit about the beginnings?
In terms of the kickoff of Bellator, I was an MMA fan, like a lot of us. I was an MMA fan years ago. I was living in Southern California, where there was a real, pretty pronounced MMA scene years ago. We would watch all the old UFCs together. My buddies and I would get together, and we'd order cheap pizza and a lot of cheap beer, and we would just sit around, and nobody understood what we were watching. It was Hoist Gracie fighting in a gi, and we all loved it. And we would get like VHSs from Japan, from Pride, and I just loved it. And I went into the boxing promotion business, and I had a pretty long run there and did a show on ESPN2 for a lot of years. And it just, in 2005, when Spike kind of welcomed this great game into the general market consciousness, I looked at it and I said, wow, I've been doing promotion of fighting sports for a number of years. That's what I do to put money on the table, but what I do for fun and what I enjoy and what I love is going to MMA events. I would buy tickets to the events, I would buy pay-per-views, and it was like, wow, I could transition this knowledge and this understanding into something that I really love. I could ultimately position myself to get paid to do what I otherwise used to pay to do. And that was it. And that's where I started creating the business model and putting together the projections and the plan and doing a lot of due diligence and research. And it just, it finally kicked off in 2009 with ESPN Deportes, and now we're partnered with Viacom moving to Spike. I mean, it's in the life like expectancy and form of businesses, it's been a pretty short road, but it's been in my head for a lot of years.
The most impressive thing I gotta say, and I'm gonna talk to you very directly, is the fighters, your team, from everyone, from your promoters, they seem to love to work for you. So how did you get them to love you so much? You made us feel so comfortable here. So I actually love being around you now also, but what is your philosophy with your the people around you and your fighters?
It's a good question. I came into it as a fan, and when I look at all the other sports that are out there, when I look at, I look at football, and I've been a football fan. I'm a kid, and I've been a football fan since I was young, and baseball and basketball, and I look at these athletes at this world-class level, and I've got a huge amount of respect for what they do. I think if you look at football, as fans, we love the big hit. That's kind of the seminal moment of a football game. Or basketball, we love a big, powerful slam dunk. Or baseball, we love a big home run. And that's kind of this combination of speed and power and technique and aggression. And it's wrapped up in football and baseball and basketball, but it's only a piece of it. And in MMA, all of those things that we as fans love so much about sports is kind of encapsulated into the entirety of the fight. And it takes such an amazing amount of courage and such an amazing amount of calm. I have a lot of respect for these guys. I think what they do, I played football in college, which is nowhere close to what these guys do, but I just think there's a level of courage and a level of athleticism that exists in this game that very few people realize. And given what they do, I kind of try to put it out there to my team and everybody that I work with that these guys are really kind of the penultimate, in my mind, of athletes. They represent all of those things, that speed and that technique and that power and that aggression that we love in athletics so much. That's what they are. And they really represent it, I think, better than any athletes in the world. So I've got a lot of respect for them, and I try to do everything I can to have that permeate what we do as an organization. I think it kind of boils down to that. The future is very bright. We formed a partnership with Viacom, which is one of the most powerful, innovative, exciting companies in the history of the entertainment business. I mean, they own and control and run and orchestrate brands like MTV and Spike Network and Comedy Central and Paramount Pictures, and the list goes on and on. There's 600+ million people around the world who are touched on a daily basis by Viacom content, and they wrote the book on MMA. But for Spike Network, we're not sitting here talking. They wrote the book. They crossed over this great sport into the general market. They created the phenomenon that is mixed martial arts in terms of reaching 100 million people with it domestically every single week. They've done more shows, more highly rated shows, bigger shows than anybody in the history of the sport in terms of television. So to be able to transition this brand in just 3 short years from a very small distribution platform that was Spanish language to partnership with Spike and Viacom it gives us an incredible opportunity to do some very big, powerful things. The future looks very bright. You always talk about it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so people, there's been a bunch of false starts with different organizations in this space, but slowly but surely, I knew that the TV product would get better. And as the TV product got better, more people would come and would be in the stands. And you start to see, we kicked off the first event in Hammond, Indiana, which is about 20 miles out of Chicago, sold out. Second event, Bossier City, sold out. Then Laredo, Texas, very close to sold out. About 5,000 people tonight, Lower Bowl, packed, a lot of excitement. It's just, it's getting there. It's really getting there, and you start to see it. And it's a great feeling because the music starts and the fighters walk out, and you can feel that kind of, the goosebumps come up on your arm, and you're like, wow, this is big, and the people are liking it. So, we just got to keep working hard, making the product better and getting more people in so that next time maybe they open up the upper bowl here and just keep plugging. But yeah, it's just, it's great to see. It's great to walk out into an arena like that and see a lot of people excited, having a good time. So that's what it's all about.
When you came up with the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the championship to make these guys, they got to put a lot of effort in to get from level to level to level to level. When did you come up with that thought, and what really made you think about that? Because it is a lot different than all the MMA shows that are out there.
Sure. Well, in its infancy, it was me sitting around, like really in its infancy, it was me sitting around as a young kid with my dad, who was a boxing fan. And we would watch guys like, and these names may mean nothing to you, but guys like Danny Little Red Lopez and these great fighters who never really became big crossover champions, but we would watch them on ABC television when boxing was back on network TV. And I can remember this as a kid, and they would fight 10, 12 grueling rounds, and they'd be bloodied and they'd be bruised. And at the end of the fight, their arm would be raised as the guy who won. And before they thanked mother or trainer or sponsor, they would scour the audience for the promoter. And I can remember it as a kid, watching these guys scour the audience and look for the promoter to scream out, "I deserve a shot at the title." And I can remember being a kid and turning to my dad and saying, why he just won? Why does he have to ask? He just won the fight. Doesn't he just get, like, as a kid, it was hard to understand, like every other sport, you'd win the final game in baseball and you go to the World Series. Or in the NBA, you finish that game 7 and boom, you're going on to the NBA Finals. Or you win the AFC Championship game and you're in the Super Bowl. You don't have to ask anybody. You don't have to wait for a guy in a shiny suit like this to say, you know what, Giants, you get to go this year. We've chosen you to go. So it was just, as a kid, I can remember thinking, that's weird. That's theatrical. That's a guy sitting behind a desk deciding who fights who for what and when. And these guys are out there putting their lives on the line. They're giving it everything they got. They should just be able to win and move on. And that was the genesis of everything I was thinking about when I formed the company. It was not having girls dancing on poles like the old Elite XC days or making team concept like the IFL. It was, how do you structurally change the very foundation of what we've accepted as fighting sports so that fans have a choice? And I'm not suggesting that what the UFC does is wrong, because I enjoy watching a lot of the UFC fights, but how do you make it real sports competition? How do you make it honest to goodness, objective sports competition? So it doesn't matter if you got great hair or crappy hair like me, or if you're married to a supermodel, or if you've been on a reality show. All that matters is when that door shuts and they lock it behind you, do you come out with a W or do you come out with the L? And if you come out with a W, you get one step closer to a shot at the world title. And it's that simple. Doesn't matter the language, doesn't matter the backstory. And that's where it all came from. That was the genesis of the whole idea of applying a structure that seemingly has worked beautifully for generations in baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, golf, tennis, cricket, any sport you may choose, and applying it to what I think is the greatest sport in the world, which is MMA. And that's what we've done in it, and it worked.
What would you like to tell the fans out there?
Just tune in. Keep watching these spectacular world-class athletes.